With how well the first part of this challenge performed, I was really excited to jump back in and record some more gameplay. Also, I was wondering whether you guys would like shorter videos, so about 10 to 15 minutes, or longer videos lasting about 20 to 30. Let me know how you guys feel about that in the comments. Picking up where I left off, I wanted to stock up on some more vegetable soup, which really just meant buying lots of leeks, potatoes, cabbages, and tomatoes. I wanted to take the carriage to Riften, but I guess I forgot that I just spent all my money on vegetables. At that point, I felt it was a better use of my time to just run down to the base of the mountain instead of doing some side quest for a few gold pieces. Taking a look at where I was versus where I wanted to go, I knew it wouldn't take too long, but just to make sure the timeline was still on the right path, the universe had me go the exact opposite direction from where I actually had to travel. Starting my journey on the long side of the mountain, whereas I should have just fast traveled to Helgen and gone from there, I saw probably my favorite Skyrim NPC, Maik the Liar. But before I could talk to him, some random homeless woman asked me for help. But instead, I sent her straight to the closest place filled with armed guards. Anyway, onto my favorite idiot. After dying to this one necromancer and his undead bodyguards way too many times, I finally realized I should be going the other way, and I fast traveled to Helgen to actually start my journey up to High Hrothgar. I felt like I killed just so many wolves on my way up the mountain, but looking back at the footage, it was really only 1, 2, and 3. Fighting the frost troll on the way up the mountain was surprisingly difficult. The first attempt ended so fast simply because I just didn't use my berserker rage, but even with it, I burnt through almost all my healing supplies. I really had to utilize the backstep approach here. It really saved my life. At this point, I was out of healing supplies and was backed right into a corner, but I got the most perfectly timed level up in Skyrim history. This was also when I was about to change the run for the much better. I put the perk point into probably the best skill possible, which made me attack 20% faster when dual wielding. I then proceeded to beat him within under 10 seconds after picking up that one perk.
No, get the camera!
After defeating the frost troll, I finally make it to High Hrothgar. I speak to the Greybeards and they teach me their ways of the voice. I learned to yell so loud people fall over, and to push the wind in front of me so hard that I move with it. Fighting the bandits on the way into Ustengrav, it was at this point I realized that power attacking with the daggers just wasn't worth it. I attack way faster with just spamming the right hand attack. Arriving at the start of the dungeon, I make relatively quick work of the first combat encounter, now that I'm actually using my brain, however small it may be. After dying within 30 seconds the first time, having someone set off the fire trap and killing most of the Draugr in the way was more of a sign from Todd Howard himself to hurry up and finish this challenge. I'm really glad I picked up the Become Ethereal shout here, since it was really helpful later on in the challenge. After picking up the mysterious note left in place of the horn, I fast traveled back to Whiterun to sell off the gear that I looted on my journey through Ustengrav. Arriving in Riverwood, I checked to see if the ingots by the blacksmith's house have respawned, but sadly, no luck. Instead, I just take these random cabbages. After speaking with Delphine about all the dragons suddenly showing up and attacking, we decide to go find one of the dragons as they get resurrected and kill it before it can cause any real damage. Taking the carriage to Windhelm, I run up the hill to the burial pit where the dragon gets ripped back to life by Alduin. After the whole song and dance of the resurrection, I'm able to kill Salakanir fairly quick, taking just over 30 seconds from my first hit against him to when his death animation finally finishes. After Delphine realizes I really am the Dragonborn of Prophecy, she tells me that we need to investigate the Thalmor embassy. Before that, however, I decided to return their horn of Jurgen Windcaller to Arngeir, and in return they teach me the final word of the unrelenting Force Shout. They then decide to beat me senseless with their old man moans and groans. I also wanted to return the Golden Claw to Lucan for the extra 400 gold, which would be quite handy for buying more healing supplies. I then decided to just take all his cheese. At this point, I had turned off my mic so that I could use some audio from the game instead of having to mute it due to my heavy mouth breathing. My cold is getting better, but my nose is just so clogged that unless I pay direct attention to it, I start breathing so loud out of my mouth I can hear it through my headphones. You know, I was going to go and enchant my daggers and armor, and I spent almost 10 minutes heading to Dawnstar and totally 100% legally acquiring soul gems and fancy enchanted armor to transfer onto my own armor, but I realized that I was just about to fight a bunch of people wearing elven armor, which is some of the best light armor in the game, and chances were that I would pick up an elven dagger on my way through the embassy, so I decided not to enchant anything. But guess what? I fulfilled my daily quota of being an idiot, and after I finished at the embassy, I completely forgot about enchanting my gear. So I pretty much played through the rest of the game where the only enchanted gear I wore were rings and amulets. After handing over absolutely everything in my possession other than my quest items, I overhear someone tell me I'm looking even more attractive without my mask covering my face, which prompts me to take a good look at my freakish physique, and give people who haven't seen the first video a good look at my character's awful face.
Oh God, help me, please! Shut your fucking mouth!
Sliding my naked butt down the hill to meet with Delphine, I very quickly get distracted with pulling up these poor people's vegetables for my soup hoard. Finally talking to Delphine, she hands me some clothes to help me look the part, as well as the party invitation to actually get in. Showing my invitation to the bouncer, she lets me in and we can finally get this party started. I made sure that the first thing I did when I showed up would be to take every ounce of food off the tables and shove it down into my pockets before anyone else gets a chance to eat it. I asked Malborn for some brandy so I could get this guy that weirdly enough always reminded me of my stepdad, not because he was an alcoholic or something, but because he just has brain damage, so that it can cause a distraction that would allow me to slip away unnoticed and prepare for my attack on the embassy. When I get to the kitchen in the back, I make doubly sure to take every piece of food for myself in there as well, so that I have as many healing supplies as possible. Once I'm done with that, I begin my assault. Taking out the first handful of Thalmor was fairly easy, but that has never been a challenge for me. Not getting lost and picking up and interacting with the right items for the quest has always been the real problem. Starting off by yeeting this man off the cliff, I get a pretty useful level up, which I use to restore my health to full once it gets low. I spend the point to increase my one-handed damage, which was really a huge help. After dealing with Rulundil, I pick up an elven dagger off his corpse, which once sharpened does significantly more damage than my steel daggers. Entering the torture chamber, I kill the one elf inside, just before grabbing the documentation on Esbern. I free this Nord prisoner, and as soon as I do that, these Thalmor come in after apprehending Malborn. I tried to blast the elves away from Malborn so they don't kill him, but I push him down the balcony as well. I thought he was okay, but when I come downstairs, he's as dead as Elder Scrolls Online. The frost troll in the cave below was such a nothing burger of a fight, but I did pull off this cool kill move. Returning to Riverwood, I make my way to Delphine, and she tells me that Esbern is probably holding out in Riften. I venture into the Quicksilver mine in Dawnstar to collect some ore so I can craft a second elven dagger. And once I do, I come back to Whiterun to craft the dagger as well as improve my weapons and armor. As soon as I'm done with that, I take a trip down to Ivarstead to make my way to Riften to rescue Esbern. For some reason I thought I had to do the first Thieves Guild quest to start rescuing Esbern, but I guess that's just because I always did it when I played this game years ago. I made quick work of the bandits inside the ratways, which was a good sign of my power so far. Getting this elven equipment almost for free was an absolute godsend. Arriving where Esbern is hiding, I tell him Delphine needs help with the dragon attacks currently happening, and he agrees to help us both with our plight. When we go to leave, the Thalmor ambush us, but thankfully I am more than strong enough to handle some pointy-eared wizards and silly swordsmen. As soon as Esbern and I get back to Riverwood, the two Blades have a nice little reunion, and we discuss how we're going to stop the dragon attacks from destroying any more of Skyrim. And with that, Part 2 is finished. After seeing how you guys reacted so well to Part 1, I was really excited to record and edit Part 2. I've already recorded the footage for Part 3, so it should be out sooner rather than later, but no guarantees. See you later, goobers.